Hey guys, today we're chucking touchdowns with chuck roast and we're making poor man burn ends. You're not going to want to miss this delicious recipe. Alright guys, let's get started with this. Today we have chuck roast, and these came from one of our local farmers that we bought half a cow off of. And we're going to go ahead, and these are bone in, so we're going to cut this meat from the bone. Separate that. You see here's a bone. If you're buying this from the grocery store, you probably want to buy boneless. And something also to look for while you're buying it from the grocery is to look for that chuck part that has the eye section in it. We're just going to cut these into about 1.5 to 1.5 square cubes to roughly 2-inch square cubes. So the reason why we're doing these chuck roast burn ends is because it seems to be a popular thing. And really, we're not doing anything super special here. That's what's kind of nice about this recipe, is you don't have to put too much effort into it like a brisket. It's going to have somewhat similar flavor as a brisket. It's going to have that bold beefy flavor. And do our second one here. Again, you can see this really nice marbling through here. And you see fat running through the meat, the long textured veins of fat. That's going to be just some awesome tender cut right there. And you see the intermuscular collagen fat right there too. So these leaner pieces, they're going to be fine too. They won't be quite as flavorful, but I'm not going to waste. And just to show you what I'm talking about, you see how ruby red this is? That's just pure muscle in there. Now there's a little bit of fat, but then you can see this piece right here and all the marbling that runs throughout the meat. That's really what you're looking for. And what we're trying to imitate here is the point end from a brisket. And the point end on a brisket is the well marbled end that has all the inner muscular fat tissue. So I would compare this maybe to the flat of a brisket, and this would be more resembling of the point of the brisket. Okay, so now I want to talk about binders. A lot of controversy out there, and I know I'm going to have some haters out there. Hate on. Check it out. We're going to use mayonnaise today, along with some Worcestershire sauce. And the reason why we're using the mayonnaise, and a lot of people are skeptical about this, but all mayonnaise is egg, oil, and vinegar. So, I mean, those three things work really well with barbecue. So, all you people that are out there going to hate, do your research, all right? Just saying. So, let's go ahead and, whoa, look at that. Worcestershire, I would say we have roughly a good 1/4 of a cup there. And we're going to have about 5.5 to 6 pounds of meat here, so hopefully this is enough, but we're just going to give this a nice little bath in Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to mix this up. Start out gentle. A lot of times when I do a brisket, I will either use a binder, being it might be just mayo, it might be a little water and vinegar, or it might be Worcestershire sauce. So why not take all three of those and basically mix them up like this and use this for our binder. The oils in this are going to make for a nice crust on these, and that's what we're trying to achieve. The mayo builds a phenomenal crust on beef. Believe it or not, there's even high-end restaurants that will use mayonnaise on their steaks when they're raw, when they throw them onto the grill, because of the crust that it builds. So if you're out there and you're having a good steak that has a nice crust on it, very well could be that the restaurant used mayo on it. Now we have these mixed up real well. We're going to just drizzle this all over these little cubes of chuck roast. Get it all on there. You're going to keep this hand dry so we can season, and this hand's going to be our mixing hand. We're going to just come in here. So at this point, we're going to take our meat church, the Gospel all-purpose barbecue. This works really well on pork, beef. Today we're using it on these burn ends. So we're going to just go ahead and give these a nice coating. And then we're going to mix them around again. What we're looking for with our rub is this rub has a nice kind of reddish orange tint, and basically that's what we're looking for on these raw burn ends here is we're looking for that color to change from that creamy white color from the mayo to the color of this rub, and then we'll know that all these are covered real nicely in the rub. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put these on the smoker. We have the smoker preheated at 250 degrees. We're smoking on a Yoder pellet grill today. If you have an offset, if you have a vertical smoker, whatever you have, if you want to do this in your oven, more power to you. But we're going to do these at 250 degrees. We're going to keep an eye on them, probably about 3 hours, check to see how the bark's doing on them. Then we're going to braise these in some aluminum pans with some beef stock. And we're going to go ahead and hit them again with this gospel once we do start to braise in the braising process. So we'll see you guys at the pit. All right, guys, let's get these on the pit. I know you think I'm crazy, but again, I'm going to reiterate, I use mayo as a binder. Check it out. So we actually got some of these going early because we have a party today. So we want to get a head start on some of these. We're just going to go right next to these ones we've already put on. Okay, so now that we have these all on our grate, we're going to pull this rack out. This is what I love most about this smoker, other than it runs really smoothly, is that the top grate comes out. So we're going to go ahead and hit these a little bit with the gospel again, right on top. We don't want to go super crazy on this, but we want to be somewhat generous. We're going to let these go for 3 hours, and we're going to check back in. We're not going to touch these things for the next 3 hours. So crack a beer open, take you a nap, do whatever you got to do. All right, guys, we've been on 3 hours. Let's go ahead and get these off and get them in the pans. You see here, they crusted up really nice. We got some good color on these. We have 2 separate pans. Put these into the 2 separate pans and then put a little braise juice in here. Now we pull these off. They've been on the smoke for 3 hours. Now it's time to get our braise going. So we're going to take this beef broth and give it a good shake. You want to try to get it room temperature. You don't want it really cold. And we're literally going to just pour this in over these burn ends, enough to get a nice little bath going in here. Going to take your favorite beer. I like IPAs and I love hazy IPAs, so this is the Sierra Nevada. You can use whatever kind you like. So pour a little bit of this in here. So I'd say it's probably about 1/4 of a cup in each can. And then we're going to finish it off with a little bit more of the gospel. Just a nice thin coating on top. Nothing too crazy. There you go. Now we're going to put these on the smoker. We're going to cover them up with some aluminum foil. And we will check these periodically in about an hour. So that'll be a total cook time of 4 hours in. And we'll see how tender they are. And if they need to go back on, then we'll leave them back on until they're done nice and tender. All right, see you fit. All right, guys, so these have taken a little bit longer than I thought. I wrapped these at the 4-hour mark and basically had to bump the temperature up to about 400 degrees with these things wrapped with foil over them just to get them tender enough. So we are 5 hours in. We did about 45 minutes at 400 degrees wrapped. So what we did is we discarded these out of the braise juice. So they are sitting here naked right now. We've been preheating some barbecue sauce here. This is a sweet heat barbecue sauce. This stuff is just sensational. Very, very tasty. This is one of our homemade Journeymen blends right here. And this is going to be available one of these days when we do manufacture sauces. So we're going to go ahead and give these a pour. Right over the top of this. Oh, yeah. Just like so. And we're going to give it a little shake. Like I said, we're going to leave these on and tack up for about 15 minutes or so. Back down to 250 degrees. We're going to bring these inside. We're going to give these things a go. Let's see how they work out. All right, so we pulled these off the pit. They were on a total of 5.5 hours, and they were finished off at 400 degrees for the last 45 minutes or so. And we let them tack up in the sauce for a good half hour. You know, they look delicious. We better give these things a try, see how they turned out. Very tender. I like that sweet and spicy sauce on them. This was pretty good. So I would definitely say that this was worth the price cut. Sometimes spending less is not always better, but in this case, if you like a good burn end, these are right there. They came in clutch. You know what? We appreciate all your guys' views, all your input. Just go ahead and keep on hitting that subscribe button and like button, and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Until next time, guys, we'll see you at the pit.